Angel Reese after missing 9 layups in one game. I be setting records too. Let's take a listen.
Congratulations on the NBA record, Angel. Tell me about you guys. Yeah. Well, you know what I'm talking about. She knows.
No, I don't, because I be setting NBA records too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That answer right there is exactly why this night became bigger than one rebounding record. Angel Reese made history, but the conversation afterwards somehow became almost as interesting as the numbers themselves.
I know why you're really here. Record-breaking night for Angel Reese. A new WNBA record for rebounds in a game. 26 rebounds in a game. Glad that's over. We sure spent a lot of time on that, didn't we? Let's get into the highlights, shall we? The Angel Reese highlights, that is. Again, I just said she had 26 rebounds.
26 rebounds. Whatever else you think about Angel Reese, that is an absurd amount of work on the glass. You do not accidentally end up around 26 missed shots and come away with the basketball that many times. Rebounding requires anticipation, positioning, strength, timing, and, maybe most importantly, a willingness to keep attacking the same area possession after possession. And that is where this gets interesting, because the box score almost looks like two completely different performances stitched together. On one side, you have a player dominating one category so completely that the entire broadcast has to acknowledge it. On the other side, you have 11 points, 3 turnovers, and a night where the offensive game never really matched the historic rebounding number. That contrast is the story. If you only look at 26 rebounds, this sounds like complete domination. If you watch every possession, the picture becomes a lot messier. And later, there is one sequence in particular where the frustration starts spilling out physically. That is the part that changes this from a funny stat line debate into a much more serious conversation about how Reese plays when things are not going her way.
Reese moves inside on Brink, blocked by Brink. Reese got it back, turns, blocked again.
Travel. God, Angel Reese went from Atlanta to LA with the amount of traveling she just did. Holy smokes. And that wouldn't be an Angel Reese highlight if she's not falling on the floor, right? If she's not falling.
This is why evaluating Reese can become such a strange exercise. She can create extra possessions that most players simply cannot create, then immediately have a possession where the footwork, balance, or finish gives the possession right back. The travel is one thing. Every frontcourt player gets called for those. The bigger issue is how frequently the chaos becomes part of the possession. She catches the ball, bodies collide, the ball comes loose, she recovers it, someone falls, another shot goes up. Sometimes that chaos benefits Chicago because Reese is relentless enough to keep the play alive. Sometimes it creates exactly the kind of sequence critics point to when they say the raw rebounding total can hide what happened before the rebound. That does not make the rebounds fake. That argument goes too far. An offensive rebound still creates another opportunity regardless of why the first attempt missed. But context matters. If a player grabs a defensive rebound after forcing a stop, that is one kind of value. If a player grabs an offensive rebound after a teammate misses, that is another. If a player grabs her own miss and needs multiple attempts to finish, the rebound still counts, but nobody should pretend that possession is automatically as efficient as the statistic sounds. That distinction is important, because Reese has become one of the most polarizing players in the league. Her supporters see relentless activity. Her critics see inflated numbers. The truth is that both sides can find real possessions supporting their argument.
Oh, no.
Reese splits the defense, moves it up and off. Tried to dump it off to Hamby, but threw it away. First turnover for the Sparks. Reese, coast to coast, can't put it in.
4.
Good box out.
Easy.
Angel Reese inside.
Ouch.
No. Back.
Easy money.
Continue to watch for Atlanta's intentionality around playing fast. They're going to push pace.
And there is the other half of the problem. When you are already being discussed as an elite rebounder, finishing around the rim becomes the obvious next step teams are going to test. Defenders know Reese wants to establish position early. They know she is going to crash hard. They know giving up one shot does not end the possession because she will chase the miss. So the defensive challenge becomes simple in theory. Stay vertical, make the first finish difficult, box out immediately, and force her to convert through length instead of allowing 3 or 4 chances. That is why a player such as Cameron Brink becomes such an uncomfortable matchup. Length changes the geometry around the basket. A finish that looks open against a smaller defender suddenly has a hand above it. A move that normally creates enough separation gets swallowed up. For Reese, this is where development matters more than another viral argument online. A reliable counter move, a quicker release, better touch off the glass, or even a short face-up jumper changes how defenders can play her. If defenders have to respect something besides the crash toward the rim, those 26 rebound nights become much more dangerous, because now the extra possessions are being paired with efficient scoring, and that is a much bigger threat than any record by itself.
Let's just get this out the way real quick. Nneka Ogwumike. Let's not forget. Nneka Ogwumike. Let's not forget, rookie season Angel Reese, on her way to the double-double streak, Nneka Ogwumike purposely fouled Angel Reese to put her on the line so she can get her double-double. Nneka Ogwumike, you are part of the problem.
The clip also brings back an old argument surrounding Reese's double-double streak and the way certain late-game situations were handled. The commentary here specifically calls out Nneka Ogwumike for a previous foul that helped create a free throw opportunity during that streak. Whether somebody views that as sportsmanship, normal late-game basketball, or stat preservation depends almost entirely on what they already think about Reese. That is the trap with narratives like this. Once fans decide a player's statistics are manufactured, every unusual possession becomes evidence. A late foul becomes proof. An offensive rebound off a missed attempt becomes proof. A teammate feeding the ball inside late becomes proof. Then the numbers themselves stop being discussed objectively because everybody is arguing about motive. But there is a fairer way to judge it. Do not erase the production. 26 rebounds require real effort. At the same time, do not worship the box score without watching how those numbers were created. Reese is good enough at rebounding that nobody needs to exaggerate it. She consistently gets herself around the basketball, fights for position, and creates possessions. That is valuable. The debate should be about how much that value offsets the offensive limitations and mistakes that can appear in the same game. And this is where the night starts shifting, because the next few sequences are not about stat padding. They are about physicality.
Listen to these two just listen to how hard these two hit the deck.
Reese, missing, bumped, lay won't go.
Damn.
Who else? Angel Reese likes the matchup with Brink, blocked by Brink.
Wow.
Reese got it back on the floor and will have a jump ball.
Well, Cameron Brink defensively, like she has good.
That collision is basketball at full speed. And this is where people have to be careful before labeling every hard piece of contact dirty. Post play is violent. Players are fighting for leverage with shoulders, hips, forearms, and lower body position almost constantly. Two big players attacking the same space can hit the floor hard without anybody intentionally trying to hurt the other person. But Reese already plays with a physical reputation, so every elbow is going to be examined frame by frame. That reputation can become a problem even when a specific play is legal. Officials are human. Opponents are human. Once enough players believe you extend your arms, clear space aggressively, or initiate more contact than necessary, defenders start reacting differently. They sell contact harder. Coaches point it out before games. Fans scream every time your arm gets near somebody's face. Suddenly, a normal physical move is being watched through the lens of everything that came before it. That is why discipline matters. The strongest version of Angel Reese is not the version trying to prove she can overpower everybody. It is the version that understands she already has the physical advantage and uses it without giving officials an excuse to turn the possession against her. Because once frustration enters the equation, that control becomes much harder.
Damn.
Reese couldn't corral it up to Reese. Reese puts it up, blocked by
Damn,
Brink.
block party. Shout out to Waka Flocka. It's a party, it's a party, it's a party. Damn. Crazy work. Angel Reese is mad she getting locked up, so she elbows her defender in the face. In the face.
Now we are getting to the sequence that deserves more attention than the jokes. Reese gets challenged, the shot is rejected, and then the contact afterward becomes the focus. The commentary describes it as an elbow to the defender's face and connects it directly to frustration. Intent is the key distinction. You can watch a replay and say the arm makes unnecessary contact. You can say it should have been called more aggressively. You can criticize the move without pretending we automatically know what Reese was thinking in that exact second. But players are responsible for controlling their bodies, especially when emotions are rising. That is what makes this sequence important. Reese's greatest strength is her aggression. She attacks rebounds as if every missed shot belongs to her. She does not disappear after getting blocked. She keeps coming. Coaches love that mentality. The danger is when competitive aggression turns into reckless aggression. Those are not the same thing. If a defender blocks you 5 times, the answer has to be a basketball adjustment. Change the angle, use a pump fake, reverse pivot, kick the ball out, re-screen, make the defender move before attacking again. The answer cannot become increasingly physical contact because you are annoyed that the defender keeps winning the matchup. And remember what we said earlier about reputation. This is exactly how that reputation grows. Not from one isolated collision, but from a collection of moments where viewers start asking whether their frustration is changing how a player uses her arms.
Let's see.
Of their own, unanswered.
Oh, damn.
Rebound, and Reese is going to pick up an offensive foul. A push-off on De'Erica Hamby.
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. This is what you have representing for the USA national women's basketball team.
And then you hear the reaction. The microphone appears to pick up Reese saying, "I don't give a fuck," after the offensive foul sequence. That is going to travel online because it fits perfectly into the version of Angel Reese both her fans and critics already have in their heads. Fans will hear competitive fire. She is not backing down, she is not intimidated, and she is not interested in being polite while battling physically underneath the basket. Critics will hear something completely different. They will say it shows a player who had lost control after being defended successfully. The tone matters less to me than what happens basketball-wise. Trash talk exists. Swearing exists. Players say things during competition that would sound outrageous if somebody isolated the microphone and played them slowly on social media. That alone should not become a scandal. The important part is whether the emotion is affecting decision-making. That is where Reese has something to prove. When the game gets frustrating, can she maintain the same motor while becoming more technically precise? Can she absorb a blocked shot without rushing the next possession? Can she use the emotional energy without allowing it to create offensive fouls or bad attempts? Those questions matter because Reese is not some end-of-the-bench player being judged on a random Tuesday. She has a major public profile. Every good game becomes a statement. Every ugly possession gets clipped. Every quote becomes a debate. With that spotlight comes a higher standard. Fair or unfair.
Angel Reese simply mimicking how everyone feels. Angel's one of the dirtiest players in the league. She constantly throws elbows and elbows into the face and throat, scratches with her nails, headbutts, and runs smaller players over with her huge body. If the refs called legit fouls on her, she would foul out every game in the first quarter, but she is Barbie and a protected species. That's my Sandy Braun.
And this is where the commentary goes from analyzing specific plays to making a much broader accusation. The post being discussed calls Reese one of the league's dirtiest players and claims officials routinely allow her to get away with elbows, scratches, headbutts, and excessive contact. That is an opinion from a critic, not an official league finding, and it should be treated that way. Still, the reason a post like that gets traction is because fans can pull clips supporting pieces of the argument. This is one of the realities of modern sports coverage. A player's reputation is no longer built only by what broadcasters say. It is created possession by possession on social media. Someone makes a compilation. Somebody else slows a replay down. Another account adds a caption. Within hours, thousands of people have seen 5 incidents without watching the full games those incidents came from. That can create unfair narratives. It can also expose patterns traditional broadcasts barely discuss. The responsible position is to separate those two things. If Reese commits an offensive foul, call the offensive foul. If she makes unnecessary high contact, criticize the high contact. If a replay is ambiguous, say it is ambiguous. What you should not do is work backward from, "I like Angel Reese," or "I hate Angel Reese," and force every possession to fit the conclusion. Because ironically, that makes it impossible to talk about what she actually needs to improve. And the basketball improvement is fascinating. Reese already possesses one elite NBA or WNBA level skill in rebounding. You cannot teach the instinct she shows around missed shots as easily as you can teach a counter move. If her finishing, footwork, and emotional control catch up with that motor, the conversation around her changes dramatically. That is the real stake hiding underneath all the memes.
The broadcast showed Angel Reese's highlights tonight. They were all rebounds. Yeah, all rebounds. That's all she did. Just rebound. 20 again, folks. 26 rebounds. WNBA record.
This broadcast package is almost unintentionally perfect. When the highlights of a record-setting night are mostly rebound after rebound after rebound, it shows both the brilliance and the limitation of the performance. Reese controlled the glass so thoroughly that the network had no choice but to emphasize it. That is historic production in one area, but highlight packages also reveal what is missing. There was no 25-point scoring eruption to package alongside it, no collection of post moves, no barrage of jumpers, no stretch where she took over as a scorer, and that does not mean she had a bad game. Basketball is not a competition to see who scores the most individually. Rebounding can decide games. An extra possession can be as valuable as a made shot if it eventually leads to points. Defensive rebounds finish possessions before opponents get second chances. The problem comes when a record begins carrying the entire evaluation. Imagine 2 players. One scores efficiently but grabs 6 rebounds, another dominates the glass but struggles to finish. Which player had the better night? You cannot answer without knowing the game situation. Defense, turnovers, plus-minus, teammates, and whether those rebounds created meaningful points. That is why the best evaluation of Reese has to live somewhere between the extremes. No, 26 rebounds are not meaningless. No, 26 rebounds do not automatically erase everything ugly that happened around them. Both can be true.
Angel Reese, after missing 9 layups in one game, I be setting records too. Take a listen.
Congratulations on the NBA record, Angel. Tell me about you guys.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm talking about. She knows.
No, I don't, because I be setting NBA records too.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
No, I don't, because I be setting NBA records too.
And now we can finally come back to the podium, because this is where the night gets its personality. The exchange is playful, but you can hear the confidence. Reese knows she is setting records. She knows her name is appearing in the WNBA record book. She knows people are watching her numbers. Confidence is not a problem. Great players usually have enormous confidence. You almost need it to survive professional sports. Imagine getting criticized by thousands of strangers every night, then walking into another arena 48 hours later and competing again. If you are constantly questioning whether you belong, the league will eat you alive. What matters is whether confidence produces growth or defensiveness. Reese has reached the stage where opponents are scouting her specifically. They know her rebounding tendencies. They know where she likes to catch the ball. They know she wants contact. They know she is hunting second chances. That means the next stage cannot simply be more of the same. The record tells you the foundation is real. The difficult possessions tell you what comes next. Better finishing angles, cleaner footwork, more patience against elite rim protection, more awareness when defenders are waiting for the second move, and especially better control when a matchup becomes frustrating. That last part may be the biggest one, because the player who gets blocked and immediately tries to force the next shot is easier to defend than the player who gets blocked, recognizes why it happened, and punishes the defense differently on the following possession. This is where Reese's ceiling is actually much higher than some critics want to admit. If you can already generate that many extra possessions without polished scoring, imagine what happens when the offensive skill catches up. But that potential also means the standard has to rise. Records should not shield somebody from criticism any more than ugly possessions should erase a record.
Angel Reese, humility and grace. Integrity will win. Kindness will win. Humility will win. Love will win. All of that will win, folks. And if you don't think it will, you know what you could do for me?
Go to hell.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Go to hell.
The commentary closes with humility, integrity, kindness, and then immediately tells anybody who disagrees to go to hell. Which is honestly a pretty funny way to summarize the entire Angel Reese discourse. Everybody claims they want a reasonable basketball conversation until Angel Reese's name enters it. Then suddenly there are two camps. One side treats every rebound as proof she is already a superstar and dismisses criticism as hate. The other side treats every missed finish as proof the entire career is manufactured and dismisses anything positive as stat padding. Neither approach is useful. The record deserves respect because nobody hands you 26 rebounds. You have to chase the basketball 26 separate times and beat somebody else to it. The offensive flaws deserve scrutiny because a dominant rebounder becomes significantly more valuable if defenses cannot simply crowd the paint, stay vertical, and wait for rushed attempts. The physical sequences deserve scrutiny because aggression stops helping your team the moment it creates avoidable fouls. And the emotional moments deserve context because hearing a player swear during an intense game is not automatically evidence of some major character problem. The most interesting version of this story is not Angel Reese was amazing or Angel Reese was terrible. It is that she managed to show you why people are so excited about her and why people remain so skeptical about her in the same night. That is rare. A 26 rebound performance should normally end the argument. Instead, this one opened 5 more arguments. How valuable are rebounds compared with scoring efficiency? How much should self-created misses change the way offensive rebounds are viewed? When does physical basketball cross into unnecessary contact? How should officials handle a player with a reputation for playing aggressively? And how much does a record matter if the rest of the performance is uneven? Those questions are going to follow Reese because she is talented enough to matter. Nobody spends this much time debating irrelevant players, and that may be the biggest compliment buried underneath all the criticism. Angel Reese has become someone whose performances demand a reaction. People watch her, people clip her possessions, people celebrate her, people wait for mistakes. She generates attention because what she does actually affects the conversation around the league. Now the challenge is turning attention into complete dominance. The rebounding is already there, the motor is already there, the confidence is definitely there. If the finishing and decision-making take another step, critics are going to have a much harder argument. If they do not, then nights like this will continue being statistical Rorschach tests, where everybody sees exactly what they expected to see before the opening tip. So you have to choose. Was this a genuinely great Angel Reese performance because 26 rebounds outweigh everything else? Or did the blocks, offensive mistakes, physical frustration, and uneven scoring show why one historic statistic cannot tell the whole story? Drop your answer in the comments, because I want to know which side you are on. And if you want more WNBA breakdowns where we actually watch the possessions instead of arguing from one screenshot of the box score, like the video and subscribe to the channel.